So me and Brittany were like, anybody that's joining us, me and Brittany were already just on FaceTime. We're like, we need to have this conversation on live so other people who can benefit from this can benefit from this. But we're talking about deity work, and let's like circle back to where we started, which is like how people just address how deities, like we just,
Yeah.
I don't know, like
So
what
yeah,
was it just
so
saying, like
the big thing for me is that when it comes to spiritual work in general, there's different avenues to go down, which is why everybody's spiritual journey is different. But the importance of focusing and growing with self and identifying self and going through your personal journey outside of ritual work, outside of witchcraft, all of that stuff. When you're working on yourself, there are aspects of yourself that you're not familiar with, which is the dark, the unknowns. But you start with your ancestral line. Why? Because there are habits and karmic patterns set in place so you can identify who you are on a deeper level. That's before you work with deities.
yeah, and
And a
that
lot
goes
of what
that
I'm
and
yeah.
that like that and completely all of that stuff can be completely like um you can find that parallel in the Norse cosmology with the weird, like the WYRD. Everything that your ancestors do is going to mirror in your own life, and there's things that
Yeah.
your ancestors did that you have to like karmically like rectify or whatever the fuck. But like, it's so true. Like these deities that are coming in and out of people's lives is just that they're coming in and out, and people don't recognize that because of their own insecurities ultimately.
It's ego.
It's an
It's
ego
ego.
thing. They need that security blanket. People need that security blanket of an outer force to validate their existence. And that's just not the case. What people, I wish people would do is exactly like what I did, um, which is like finding your own divinity, recognizing your own higher self, and giving yourself that respect by first setting boundaries and working on your self confidence and loving yourself and shit like that. Because once you have that self awareness, and you understand what your own energy is and you respect yourself in that way, you can actually allow for different entities, different energies to come into your plane, and you can recognize it for what it is. Because what
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people do is they automatically are like, oh, I'm getting a fucking crow on my house. This must be the Morrigan, the goddess of death, even though I've been practicing for like 2 months and I don't know shit about myself. I don't even know where my ancestors are coming from. I don't know anything about myself. And like, they like completely submit to this entity that is there wanting to feed off of their insecurity.
Yeah. Well,
And that's what's sad.
so there's this here. I had a comment at Robin Pruitt 707, and this is not an attack, it's just an explanation. Your ego is your identity. Try to humble your ego, but never destroy it. Here's the thing with that. People have identified ego as a personality trait because it is easier to accept your faults than it is to work through them. Ego is a psychological defense mechanism to avoid trauma because it is your body's natural way of avoiding damage done to your brain. It is a response. It is not an identity or a character trait. So when I talk about ego, it is an understanding of literally boundaries within yourself that you need to identify. But that's what the dark does is it tests your boundaries and then pushes you outside of it. Why? Because it's a test of your will, your strength, and your identity. Those two are not synonymous for each other. The ego cannot die. It is there for you for your protection specifically.
It's
But
your
what people
survival skills.
misinterpret exactly. But what people misinterpret point fucking blank is that ego, this concept of ego death, no, that shit doesn't fucking happen. What you do is you broaden your boundaries, but ego doesn't die. Ego doesn't die at all. And it's not supposed to, because it's supposed to be there to protect literally your physiology, your psychology, your neurons, because consciousness stems in your neural system, your nervous system. That's where consciousness resides. That's the home base in all of our human selves. And when it comes down to this need for validation, it is because you are sitting within your comfort zone. So people immediately look for higher vibrational frequencies and interpret it the way that they want to. The use of pendulums, I'm all here for it. But you cannot use pendulums to communicate with higher vibrational frequencies because pendulums work off of your subconscious. That's how pendulums work.
Yeah.
Pendulums literally work off of your subconscious. You are in communication with your higher self when you use pendulums. That's how that shit works.
Period.
And people, yeah, and like there's no if, ands, ways around it. So when
Unless
you're trying to communicate,
unless you're okay, so the only way that a pendulum may work, you first of all, you wouldn't even need a pendulum to confirm something that a deity is saying. If you were at a level where you're allowing yourself to be mounted by a spirit and could be allow your physical body to completely replaced by a divine being, one, that's a fucking like closed practice. You have to be initiated into learning how to fucking do that, first of
oh
all.
yeah,
That's not something that someone who's just born to knowing how to do. You have to be taught how to do that. And so you
correct.
will completely leave your consciousness, go somewhere else, and allow something else to remain within your physical body to possess you completely within your control. That is not something that I don't even know how to do it, but I know, and that's something that will never be taught on the internet. That's something
Yeah.
completely outside of this. That's the only way that you can get an accurate answer via pendulum from fucking anybody outside of your higher self. Period.
Yeah. So I have Robin. I love Robin here. Energy's dope here from Robin, by the way. So do you have advice on how to heal ego? You cannot heal ego. You have to understand it. The first thing to healing is understanding first and foremost, you're not broken in the first place. So when people believe in this concept of healing, in like there's this idea that healing means fixing something that's wrong. There's like or fixing something that's broken. You're not a broken being. There are aspects of yourself that have to learn how to overcome the trauma. So if we were to think of it this way, right? So we have a line of ants. Have you guys ever watched what's that ant movie? The Bug's Life.
Bug's Life.
So the Bug's Life. So the ants are like marching to put their food into this area, and a leaf falls, and they fucking panic. And then what they do is they learn to walk around the leaf. Think of trauma as the leaf. Shit happens and it completely disrupts your neural connections. So your neurons and your system has to learn how to reroute this trauma. You're not fucking broken. You're just learning how to reroute your connections around what has happened to you. So when we come in with this idea of
I'm talking
of healing ego, you're not healing ego, you're healing the neural connections that have been disrupted from trauma by learning to reroute it. But ego is necessary to protect you from having more trauma again. Because when neurons break off and die off, they don't come back. That's why ego is there. To test your boundaries, but to allow you to find said boundaries. So now it's this argument back and forth on ego death versus what does that mean, and moving over here. Humility. Humility. People need to learn humility because we are humans. We are the superior species on Earth, and yet here we are tearing each other apart. I had this, I was talking to Ashley about this a while ago. I was graciously and honorably on my end met by the Aztec sun god. Absolutely intimidating motherfucker, but highly knowledgeable. Absolutely fucking intimidating. But when I met, first and foremost, he didn't come to me. He came to me, my thoughts, yes, but I had to visit him in the astral. There was no mistake on him coming to me and us having this conversation here in my bedroom. No, that did not fucking happen. I had to meet him in his space respectfully. And when I did, he literally told me the human race is not a species. It is literally a competition against self for superiority, and you guys are going to rip each other apart simply because of power and ego. I'm like, fuck. And I literally had this beautiful meditation that I had in the astral with all of these divine messages, and I came back and shared it with Ashley, and we're just like piecing it apart and like trying to understand these messages. And literally, because you guys know, like my OG people, you guys know that I work very closely with the darker side of spirituality, and you guys know that my teachings and understandings of the dark is very simple but not easy. And this is, if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I explain it very simply. The dark teaches you boundaries.
Oh.
We are given free will to decide whether we step out of those boundaries and succumb to the fears that we have created about the dark, or we take them as lessons and move on from them.
Right. Exactly.
So then when we were talking about deity work, it's just like, there's this fat misconception that deities come to you and reside in your space, and they sit at your altar and they dance in your candle flame and all of this shit. And Ashley said it perfectly, and I want you to share it because I don't want to fuck it up because you said it perfectly.
About
Like presenting yourself and creating a presentable space and actually projecting.
This needs to be said. It needs to be said. If you honestly think that a primordial being is visiting you in your house every fucking day and living up to next to you and like is up your ass all day long, giving you thoughts, then you really need to reevaluate what you think of deity, what their power is. Whenever I talk, I've experienced Odin's energy twice, and I've been worshiping him actively since last fall. And every single day, well, not every single day. I've gotten away from that because I don't need to fucking light a candle every day. I just don't need to do that. But his presence, every time I felt it, my house was immaculate. I was immaculate. I just got out of the shower. Like, I am clean. I am prepared. I am ready to receive whatever message it is, period. But I get indications from him that I need to meditate to meet him. And I come correct. I prepare myself. I drink my water. I eat my food. I prepare my bed where I meditate. I make sure my physical self is clean, and then I go to him and just have no expectation of the message that he's about to deliver to me. And that's it. Odin does not come into my house. I go to Odin and I come correct because he is the All-Father. The All-Father is not a puppy, and I'm really tired of how disrespectful people talk about the divine beings as if they're fucking like collector items. As if they're when you're addressing a primordial being, something that's thousands of years old, you're not talking to it like you would your child. If you were if you're to go to college and pay for a college class, and your professor has been doing, an expert in their field has been doing the work for 50, 60 years, and you're on your phone and you're talking to him like, oh, look, he's like an old grandpa. Oh, thank you so much. You're so amazing. Like, would you talk to your fucking professor at your college with that level of disrespect? No. So what makes you think you can talk to like a fucking immortal god like that? You wouldn't even talk to a human like that. Why would you talk to a god like that? Would you talk to your own mother like that? No. It just drives me crazy.
And it's that point exactly, in that if you hypothetically were to talk to your mother like that, hypothetically, let's just say you have that relationship with your mother.
But there's someone someone on my page saying it's painful. That you're dark as incorrectly, that actually supposed to call them baneful. Mm-hmm.
Someone in your comment section literally said you're supposed to address them as baneful. Let's chat. You got so much to teach. Let's chat. Baneful. Do you know what baneful means? I'll wait for her comment to come up. I'm going to allow her to speak because apparently she knows a little bit something about deities. What does baneful mean?
It's infernal and painful.
What does evil mean? What does evil mean? And where did it come from? The thing is that
they're not. They aren't evil, all caps.
They are evil? Okay, so let's put it. Are not. Okay, so check this out. The fact that you use the term evil alone in spirituality tells me where you're at.
She obviously doesn't get it.
Oh, okay. I don't get it. Cool. So let's put it this way. The topic of ethics, we'll get there, right? Is this human construct to allow us to find boundaries within human existence. The concept of good versus evil is a human construct, not divine construct. There is light and there is dark. So when you speak of baneful, as in, what did she say baneful was again?
She doesn't explain.
Okay, so to be addressed as baneful when dealing with something of the dark is like generalizing the public. So the stupidity just astounds me. So check this out. Baneful. They want to be addressed as baneful. Do I want to be addressed as mother by Ashley? As mom? Do I want anybody in here to address me as mom? No. Am I a mother? Absolutely. But my name is Brittany, and I serve a purpose outside of being a mother. Baneful is a character trait.
Baneful is the type of practice infernal entities that are from the left-hand path.
Okay, left-hand path. That is very Christian of you to mention. Step outside of Christianity, my dear, because we're not talking about religion. We are talking about energy. There's a huge difference, because your belief systems are not wrong, my dear, and I will mention that up and down. What you believe in is subjective to how you were raised. There's nothing wrong with what you believe in, but what we are talking about is something outside of that.
She's also a demonolotress, all caps.
Okay. How long have you been studying your practice?
I work with the infernal, all caps. Someone else says, I don't like this negativity.
It's not negative.
There's nothing negative.
We're just trying to understand. At all.
We're not being negative. We're just trying to understand. She said 10 years.
Okay.
It's not. So we're not trying to be negative. We're just trying to understand her point of view because she's an expert.
Yeah, that's it. So she is considered an expert in her field of study, given how much practice and research she's put into this. So her perspective is saying that the infernal are to be referred to as baneful. Okay. So a character trait. They would like to be referred to as a specific character trait. I can go with that. I'm down to go with that. But to identify each infernal god as baneful is incorrect. There's that.
Mm-hmm. I encourage Very Venus to teach her own path on her own life.
Absolutely.
Instead of coming into mine and trying to correct the people that are talking.
Yeah.
But then treat me as such. No, I said the practice is baneful. The gods are infernal beings. She said I do. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm not shitting on you at all. It's just, it's kind of annoying, as you can probably understand if you teach, when people are just like throwing out how, like, just correcting semantic shit. Because at the end of the day, what I'm seeing is like, you're not disagreeing with Brittany. You're disagreeing with the language she's using.
Yeah, literally.
And it's confusing to everybody else who has no fucking clue about any of this shit.
So here's where, like, this is where it gets interesting.
Because I'm done with the person acting like she knows it all. Okay. When she talks about, my God, his name is Lord Beelzebub, not Beelzebub. Well, we didn't even talk about Beelzebub.
Oh, boy.
We didn't even bring him up. So
you're bitter. You're bitter. Lord Beelzebub. Excellent. So, your Lord Beelzebub, I understand the frustration in that.
No, she 100%. Says no in her video. Well, we're not in her video right now, and you're not addressing that. We're trying to talk about things, and you're like throwing it off.
Hey, wait, really quick. Why is she, if she's pissed off at me, why isn't she in my comment section?
Well, have her roll over to mine then. Just go to her comment section, because we had a good
if you've got something
going.
To say. Well, here's the thing. I'm the type of individual to be open-minded to discuss these things. So if you have a problem with me, don't go through my friend, come to me. We'll fucking chat. I will have and like you can see it right now, I can understand your perspective and I can see where you're frustrated. So why don't you come to me and let's fucking chat? Unless you want to hide from it. So there's that. What's her name?
Very Venus, and she's still here.
A Very Venus. Alrighty, my dear. So, in your 10 years of practice and you feeling disrespected on something that's completely irrelevant to the subject that we're talking about, you just need your ego stroked. So let me stroke your ego. You're right. Your perspective is correct. And if you got a problem, come talk to me. There's that. Other than that,
we were talking about deity work, and we weren't talking about Beelzebub or Lord Beelzebub. He's not my lord. I don't know Beelzebub. And I've never talked about him once on my page.
Yeah.
Demonolotress or not, cool. Like,
yeah.
that means nothing to me when we're talking about something completely separate.
Yeah. Anywho, so going back to deity work, she got her ego stroked. I think she's going to sit satisfied in her own lonely space. Deity work. Please understand point blank that higher vibrational frequencies that are hundreds of thousands of years old are to not be addressed like puppies, like Ashley said. They will make themselves known. They will send signs and messages, but first and foremost, they will send messengers of them first to see if you're paying attention.
Someone's saying, so I'm wrong for referring to Hecate as without lady or mother in front every single time. I wouldn't say that. Honestly, I wouldn't say that.
You're not.
I wouldn't say that because Hecate is like, first of all, if you're working with her, she will make it known to you how you're
very Venus.
I honestly, yeah, I don't, and again, we're not speaking for every single individual path or every individual god when we're speaking. We're talking about general things. If you are working with a specific deity and they have not indicated to you how they want to be addressed, then I would take what they're saying over anything that we're saying because I don't have authority over what they want. They will make it.
Here's the thing.
You just need to oh, I know. No. I know it's not against me. I love you because you're cool as shit. No, you're not. Okay.
Yeah, no, but she was literally proving the point across the board that as far as offensiveness goes, intention is everything.
Yes.
If you approach a god or goddess, Hecate, you approach Hecate with the utmost respect and address her as Hecate, there's no issue with it unless she says otherwise. Mm-hmm. But other than that, for Barry Venus is up in here with all caps. Look at you, keyboard warrior. Look at you go. Welcome to my space. Honestly. So, Barry Venus, you are a 10-year practitioner of demonolatry. I think that's dope as shit, honestly. Here's the thing. Don't ever use my God's name again, your God. So is that indicating that he is not the Lord over others? Because you do know that he is a king of the underworld, not the Lord of the underworld. There is a huge fucking difference. But you would know that, right? Because you're practicing demonolatry for 10 years. So what you're doing is not defending his honor, but your ego by proving a point. Anyways, I digress.
Anyway.
What do you got going on today? I feel the same way.
I expect this from someone who's inexperienced. Yeah, I expect this kind of clapback when it's someone inexperienced. I don't expect the clapback and the disrespect from someone who's also within the same practice as you.
Uh-huh.
And I would think that there would be a respectful discourse, not accusatory, demeaning, disrespectful discourse. And that's what we all, like, this is what also needs to be addressed is, like, we're all on the same team.
Big facts.
We're all on the same team here. We're all these weirdos that are in this chat right now, we're all each other guy.
And here's the most, and there's no that I love the most
in doing this tit for tat ego bullshit. Because, and I say ego is not a consciousness thing, as a fucking human thing. Like, I understand that you have your own way of doing things, and your way is valid if that is how it makes you feel safe. But me and Brittany talking about our perspective and our point of view is not a threat to you. And that's not us telling you this is what you need to be doing, this is what needs to happen.
Nope.
I'm just sharing what my life experience is based on what my experience is. And if you have something different from that, my experience should not invalidate yours. This is why we all fucking left the Christian fucking church. Get a fucking grip.
Damn,
why did you leave the church? Why did you leave the church? Because you're tired of people telling you how to live your life. So when you turn around and you're on here, well, you need to talk to people like this and you're doing the wrong thing, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe you should just go talk to the Pope then, because you're more agreement in his communication style than us. Because we're over here just trying to have an open-minded conversation, and you're over here getting offended for no goddamn reason. Do you think Beelzebub gives a fuck about this live stream? Absolutely not.
No, it was the offense of how I addressed her God, which, I understand.
Odin all day long. You know what? I had someone talking about Odin, and I got tagged in this fucking video talking about how Odin's an asshole and all this shit, and like someone got tagged in that, and all I could do was laugh because I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So
Here's like another.
if you don't want to go to Valhalla, that's on you. I don't give a fuck what you say about Odin because Odin has done none of that to me. Maybe if you were being respectful, you wouldn't have such a bad conception of Odin.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing that I find when it comes to people's practices is that, again, religion is a structured practice based off of cultural belief systems. So when we come down to explaining perspectives, it's not reality. Our realities are perspectives, but the two cannot be exchanged, because it's subjective to not only your feelings and experiences, but your trauma as well, which is why everybody's spiritual path is different. And I tell you guys every single fucking time, I'm not here to tell you what to believe in. I'm here to show you what you do not know. In the same way, Ashley tells me what I do not know, because my work is in mostly aspects of the dark, mostly, but there are things that we are teaching each other in this process, which is why literally what she said that I had a strong reaction to is that we're literally all in the same goddamn boat.
Yes.
And we're bitching at where the holes are coming from. Scoop the fucking water. We're in the same boat.
We're in the same fucking boat. We're all here on this app right now. People are waking up to themselves. And do you think Christianity? Absolutely not. It's not been the answer for 2 years.
The reason, as far as personal experiences go, what I have found to be easier in identifying messages from deities is understanding ancestral backgrounds first, because you will be able to not only speak to your higher self and understand your concentration of and understand self and grow that way. It makes the messages from outside perspectives a little bit easier to understand. So if you, that's where I have found it easier to understand, is working with ancestral lines first and then going that direction. But if your practice is focusing on working on deities first, then what I would kind of like focus on a little bit more is understanding your intuition first and foremost, because your intuition is going to tell a lot. The difference between understanding anxiety versus intuition is the emotion that's fueled behind it. Anxiety will have you feeling a certain type of way. It'll fuel you with anxiousness, doubt, uncertainty, which is why understanding self is so important, and developing balance within your energy is so important. Because versus the intuition has no emotional drive behind it. It's like a GPS system, like turn left, in 300 feet, or go straight, or that's a fucking curb, ho, learn how to drive type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. So there's no emotion driven behind it. And this is where people get confused, is because if you don't understand yourself first and learn how to reroute your consciousness around your trauma, then understanding messages are going to get confusing outside of yourself.
Yep.
So if we have like a squirrel, a cat, a dog, a frog, or an owl, these signs could be more likely from your ancestral line deity. If it's possibly from a deity, then this is where divination comes into play. I love using tarot cards because they're straightforward. Okay. So keeping structured questions in play and spreads are fucking fantastic. Spreads I find absolutely wonderful. And I'm learning that more from Ashley, because I freeball my shit. But Ashley's teaching me spreads, and I think that's dope as hell. Spreads, 100%. Ask through divination if you need that confirmation, because everybody's spiritual journey is different.
Outside of the pendulum. A pendulum is good. I feel like pendulum work is good for basic ass questions like, where is my medicine? Is my medicine in my living room? Is my medicine in my bathroom? You think I'm lying. Or like when you're consulting your higher self this morning. like when you're consulting your higher self and asking yes or no questions. But a pendulum is not going to answer the questions in an in-depth way. It's yes, no. And relying on the pendulum to get messages from anything other than you is irresponsible on your end, and it's going to lead you to your own destruction, because you're only confirming your own bias, because all of us know already the answers, yes, no, we just haven't been consciously aware of it, so we're asking our unconscious to confirm. Basically, that's what a pendulum is. When you're holding it, you are using your energy to fuse and let your pendulum do the damn thing, because you can teach yourself how to be your own pendulum. Everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
You can teach yourself. For me, like, if it's a yes, I get a right ear confirmation ringing, or if it's a no, it's a left ear. That's how I do it. I don't even use a pendulum, but anymore. But it's a good starter thing to, like, allow the whoever to the cards a lot more solid results as far as answers go, and you'll get context as well.
Yeah. What about deity spreads? Literally everywhere online, effective or not, depends on you. So deity spreads, the reason why I'm advocating spreads now is because it is very helpful for individuals that have questions like this. Is it gives, there is a specific space for this question. There's a specific, and it's very clear and concise.
Is someone setting me a headache right now?
Who?
Is someone sending me a headache right now?
I don't have one.
You have cards. Can someone confirm? Can you confirm someone's sending me a fucking headache?
Is someone sending Ashley a headache? 9 of Swords is your anxiety.
Okay.
So, boundaries. Self-boundaries. 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 When people talk about boundaries, it is very much immediately setting boundaries outside of the space of consciousness. And this is where we look to interpersonal relationships to learn how to set boundaries, because it's easier to use other people as a reference. And I find that extremely important. And you guys know how much I talk about boundaries. But what the dark initiates is setting boundaries within self. Okay? Okay?
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to get my headache to go away.
Yeah. Is setting boundaries within self. So when we bring up a subject, for example, okay, and we are on the topic of discussing deities, and someone comes in with their opinion outside of this fact, it is disrespectful in that space for personal boundaries for myself, but she's also disrespecting her personal boundaries. She doesn't have any. And that's what I see in people first. The connections that I meet in between people is that if you feel so inclined to share an opinion of yours, thinking it's not going to have consequence, you, my dear, don't have boundaries. And this is where I kind of start snapping, is because I know how to trigger you. And I know how to push buttons.
Are you talking about me? Are you talking?
No, the Venus.
Okay.
The Venus bitch.
Oh,
I'm sending you healing.
Oh yeah, and I got people in here sending me energy. I really appreciate it, because, like, I already feel it going away. Now I have to believe it's going to work at this point. No, I appreciate that. Is she still talking to you?
No, she's watching. She's silently watching. I know she's in here.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe she'll learn something.
No, she's still closed off. I have people on my end sending you healing too.
I appreciate that. You guys are so nice. Like, I get headaches from stupidity.
Big facts.
I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
But no, okay, so what other concerns do we need to address with deity work that are problematic?
Just respect, guys. Respect. If you have boundaries within yourself.
I was talking about this in my reading earlier today. Like, I had someone who was working with the deity, and she set up an altar for him, and they did some work. Then, like, after about 3 or 4 months, like, she didn't really feel his presence anymore. And then, like, he went away. And she was like, I still have his altar here. Do I not need to have it anymore? No. I feel like a lot of people, it's not anything anyone did anything wrong. Like, don't make yourself wrong for just now learning this. Because I had to learn this too. We come from, like, most of us come from a background of Christianity, right? we all have this idea that gods are like everlasting, they're omniscient, and that is um, sometimes true depending on the god or goddess. But the nature of worship within polytheism is a very different concept than Christianity. Like these deities come into your life, they're here to help you learn something, and once you learn that lesson, they got other shit to do. Bye bye. And it's nothing that you did wrong. They're not going to say goodbye half the time. Hermes, the nicest guy ever, did not even say goodbye because they don't need that. That is a human thing. You need that. So when you want to say goodbye, allow that deconstructing of their space, the altar space, be your like grief process, your funeral. You're putting those things aside and you're restarting something else. Allow that space to either be empty or just put something else that you want there. Because the longer you hold on to that altar space for them, it's like if your grandma dies and then like, because my family did this, my grandma died and for 10 years we left her room the exact same way that she left it. That's what you're doing. You're holding on to something that's no longer there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make anyone wrong. That actually means you should celebrate and have practice gratitude because you learned a lesson and you've got like a progress made, leveled up within that lesson that they teach you. Some deities are there for a couple of weeks, some of them for a few months, but I don't like even Odin, my patron. Odin doesn't stick around all the time. I don't hear from Odin every single day. I hear from him every once in a while, and that's completely fine. It's okay. That's why we talk about getting to know your guides, getting to know your higher self, getting to know your ancestors. Because I'll tell you what, you want someone to be around you all the time, your ancestors will be happy to do that for you. Your grandma loves the fuck out of you, and she will always want your attention. Just like in life, my granny, anytime I need her, she is here. Because my grandmother loved me more than anyone. Do you think that's going to be any different in spirit form? It's better now because they have more power now because they're spirits. Your grandparents, your great grandparents, all of your ancestors of your like higher purpose. I will say, like, preface your ancestor work with like ancestors that are going to actually benefit your higher purpose instead of like these assholes that sometimes are in our family lines. But like, you're wanting somebody around you all the time to talk to you and validate you and give you advice. Ancestor work. Why are you sleeping on it?
Yeah, big facts.
Yeah,
so
you can't. There's no such thing as a loss when it comes to working with your ancestors. Because they did literally everything they did. If you're in America right now, at some point in time, your ancestors left everything they knew and loved, struggled to make something happen for their legacy you. So when you succeed, they're succeeding. Watch the money flow into your bank account once you start working with your ancestors.
Straight up. So I was getting channeled a message. I had the pressure in my ears, and then I got like a shot over my forehead. It wasn't a headache by any means. It was just like pressure. And I like was listening to what you were saying, but my people are watching. They're like, she's channeling something. So I'm going to explain it right here. So Venus, whatever the fuck her face is, she's real mad. She's real mad. So outside of this general space, she's watching to see if there's a reaction out of this. And I'm just going to let you know, darling, really quick. The baneful work you are doing is going to bounce back in your face sevenfold. And I'm going to explain why. You're sending me energy that you think is going to affect me. I'm here to just I'm not here to tell you that I am different nor stronger than you are. I'm not here to boast by the work that I have done. But I am warning you now that that candle that you just fucking lit, I am going to explode in your goddamn face. So let me just share this with you as far as confirmation is concerned. You are emotionally unstable. You are fucking stuck and bitter in your life. You are impatient and closed-minded. You are struggling and suffering in your own just misery. And here's where I fucking sit. Understand that. I'm not the high priestess because I like the validation, just so you know. I don't share on the things that I can or cannot do because I need validation. Did your shit work? Six of Wands reverse tells me no. I welcome anybody to try, honestly. This might be entertaining. But this is a number of reasons why I choose to keep my shit private. Ashley's sending me healing, and I can feel the buzz in my feet. She's grounding my ass right now. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sending her. I'm neutralizing whatever the fuck she just did.
Yeah, I felt it in my feet. I was like, all right, fine.
No, whatever she just did, I just neutralized it. So
I sent it back. So you just kind of helped. You just gave her a good helping. Anywho, I digress.
That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. I mean, if you... Okay.
I don't know. I think, again, it comes down to validation. So check me out. Check me out. Readings and confirmation from the top, from the middle split, we have 5 of Wands here in reverse is coming out of conflict. So we are being urged to alleviate ourselves of divulging too far in the dark. 3 of Swords comes in as hurt. So let's just, we're not accomplishing anything by divulging too deeply in ego and in greed. So we're just going to move out of it. And that's what we're being requested to do. The Hanged Man is to learn a different perspective on things. But just so you friends know, I just want to share my personal journey.
Since we're doing ego shit right now, could you just note that I just did all of that without moving from my space?
Yeah.
And that's on shadow work. Anyways, someone's asking me, can you explain a bit more about patrons and matrons, please, if that's okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know this stuff because I don't even know the correct language to express this.
So think of the definition of a patron, right? It is somebody that provides support for, and let's just call it an organization. A patron is somebody that pays support towards an organization. A patron will pay attention to you, give you guidance and understanding of the path that you are leading. They will show you what needs to be done in accordance to what you want to manifest. They will come when they need to, as you request their presence, and wait to see if they receive this request. Because again, offerings are made, you wait a few days to see if they receive it, and then you continue on with your work. A patron or a matron will show you signs, divine signs of if they have accepted your offer, and then their work will begin. It is a very temporary time and space because you have requested very specific work to be initiated on your path.
Yellow butter.
That is a patron.
So,
he says hi.
And if you wanted to pull a card about this, I just discovered how the process of Odin becoming my patron started recently. For everyone that doesn't know, I just did a past life reading myself. I was just doing it because I got different spreads. So I asked my guys about a past life that I'm already aware of, and it took a past life where I had made a massive sacrifice to Odin and made a pledge to him. And this was year 600 when I was fucking Norse person. And I oath to Odin 600 years ago. Would matrons or patrons also be somebody and something similar made a sacrifice to in a past life?
Yeah.
That a thing?
Yeah.
I don't
so
a thing.
Yeah. So as far as personal connections and journeys go, I know I just went off on a fat fucking rant about deity work. This is not invalidating personal experiences by any means. It's just recognizing those very strong, simple messages and not overthinking it. Very much so are you being divinely guided by the All-Father. 100%. It's in your ancestral line. That is your ancestor work. That is where you came from.
Yeah.
That is very much your path. And he is here to guide you along inner strength and knowledge.
Yep.
And accepting different perspectives. And that's literally what you're doing now is you're picking up literally another messenger of the other side of spirituality. And this is where he led you to this path. And he is allowing you to see this side because that's where his work in you will actually begin. Because he's trying to show you perspectives. And this is where a lot of people get this confused, right? Is that they think that their god or goddess is gone, when in actuality that their purpose is outside of our expectations. We expect these gods and goddesses to show us these different things, you know, bring us light and messages, whatever it might be, confirmations, but their purpose is to show you what you don't know. And this is where people get tripped up.
And you know what's funny? You know what's funny about what you just said about Odin is, like, my first thing I ever asked him for was strength and wisdom. That's it. That's all I've ever asked from Odin. And so you just validated that shit so much. And even so, everybody in here that's like insecure about like not having a deity or some shit like that, deities are gonna come whenever you're ready. Don't go looking for a deity. They will show up quite nicely. And the only reason that I might be like more aware of deities is because of who I am, the work that I've done on myself to be more receptive of other energies. Like, but everybody in this chat has the ability to be a psychic. Everybody in here has the ability to do what I do outside of like mediumship. I think mediumship is something you're born with, but like the psychic stuff, the energy understanding and things like that, that is something you can develop. And if you're not at a place where you can receive the lesson that the deity is going to bring to your life, they're not going to waste their time. What are you saying?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Your people came from your side of the video. They got your headache and they're over here. So I'm just like pulling the headache out of them.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
It's interesting that I'm getting a headache and then we're also talking about boundaries.
Boundaries. Inner boundaries.
Here, I'll put my sigil on here.
Self-respect and boundaries. Here, this is where a lot of our anxiety is being triggered. Is that we don't know where our boundaries are because we have yet to test them. But people are so afraid of the dark that they forget that it is necessary for balance.
You know, when you're painting something and you're adding dimensions to your painting and you want your apple, like you're painting an apple, right? And you want your apple to have a sheen on it. Sometimes when you're putting too much light in it, it just doesn't make it look right. It's still not doing the right effect. Sometimes you have to add the shadow so the light can be shown better. And that is how it is metaphorically in our path.
I love that.
There needs to be light. The light is important, but when there's too much light, it doesn't make it look good. We need to learn how to balance that by adding that dark, that shadow. And that's how you make a beautiful picture.
Big facts. I love that. I think I'm going to use that from now on.
You should.
Thank you, Ashley. Can people have more than one matron and patron? Yes. What is the difference between matron? Yeah. What is the difference? It's because you have, again, like, remember, think of like you are throwing a soiree of sorts. You're going to have people that donate to the soiree because they are supporting the cause.
You know what? Yes, I agree with this. Not that I didn't disagree with you before, but now I understand it. But like Norse path shit, Odin patron. But if I were to do a different path, I definitely have a different matron and a different path that I'm not going to speak on here. But yes. Yeah, that checks out. That checks out. So if you're doing more than one path within your life, you're probably going to have more than one patron or matron. That makes sense.
Yep. If you ever, here's just a food for thought, people. If you ever get triggered by somebody or something, if you ever get triggered by somebody or something, begin your shadow work. Why did it trigger you? What part of it triggered you?
Someone just asked me, do you believe gods and goddesses are now incarnating human form? I'm not sure. I'd have to look in. I'd ask yourself to do some divination on that one.
Yeah, go do divination on that one for yourself. My DMs are open if you want to ask questions, but I urge you to do your own divination and let's collaborate, because I don't want to steer you in a direction that is not meant for you. I don't want to start telling you all of this shit and this is what you core believe in. I fully believe in personal research and your personal journey. So I encourage you to do your divination and then let's chat about it.
That's a fun chat. We need to do like a chat that's like not on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know what?
What other platforms are there?
You know what? On my fucking scheduler, we can add like class things, and we can make it a thing where people can talk about this shit. Can we do this, or like, should we do this for free sometime?
Hell
Because we
yeah, we
already talk about
should.
this shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should call it FaceTime with Ashley and Brittany.
Okay, so what you guys need to do right now, I'll set it up. Me and Brittany will come up with a time. We'll set it up right now. If you're in here and you're interested in that kind of conversation where we don't have random ass TikTokers throwing us shit about whether or not we're using the right titles for demons and shit, email me, ashleysummer0@gmail.com, and I will send you the invitation in a place where you can sign up for it.
Cool.
And we'll just do that because we have these conversations all the time. And if this is something like we were already talking about this in our own fucking free time. So you might as well learn something from our conversations if that's something you're interested in. So ashleysummer0@gmail.com. If you could put in the subject Zoom or like phone call with Brittany, that would be amazing so I can organize it better.
Indigo Low Frost, I'd love to know why I was laughed at for my question. Wait, why were you laughed at? Hold on, wait. Let me go back because I was laughing.
We weren't laughing at you. We were laughing at the irony.
Wait, what was the question? Hold on. Do you believe in God and goddesses are incarnated in human form? Oh. So yes, the irony. So we were not laughing at you. We were laughing at the question because we have actually talked about this.
And I don't feel comfortable talking about that on TikTok Live. I'm so sorry. It's just we were laughing about it because that's something we've literally been talking about this week in our own personal conversations.
Both boys got it this morning at 9 a.m.
But Medium Lugo.
If they have it, yes. I didn't give them a load.
We have Tata Lugo in the chat. He says blessings. Hello, Tata. Buenos dias or buenos.
Summer with no S at the end. So it's Ashley LEE Summer 0@gmail.
Everyone go follow medium_Lugo. He is a Tata Palomayombe, and he's been practicing for 30 years. He is a wealth of knowledge and wisdom, and he is amazing.
Not me leaving my own chat.
Huh?
Not me leaving my own chat. I was like, who? I was going to literally leave my own chat.
Medium_Lugo. This man knows everything. Go follow him. He is like the dad you never had.
Aww.
But like Palomayombe one. But he's spicy though. Like he likes to pretend he's a teddy bear, but he's got spice in them. He's just like he's got wisdom. Like he's learned his lesson, so now he doesn't spice it up as often as he should. Okay, so matron versus patroness. They're terms. They're interchangeable terms. Just for your guys' FYI. I'm sorry. Lugo, Tata. I honestly feel like if you were like my age or younger, if we were both 21, we'd be drinking a lot of tequila. Am I wrong about this?
Whoa. I don't have him in my chat, but he sounds like he likes to party.
He's in my chat, but he's cool as shit.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. Let's see here. Let's do a collective. I do have work that I gotta do.
Yeah, I have a reading in like 10 minutes. I gotta go.
Yeah. Alrighty.
But I'm gonna do your little collective joint.
Cool. Collective from Rider Waite or Occult Tarot?
I don't care. Why do you make me choose these things? Just usually you have
Occult.
Yeah.
Alrighty, message for the collective.
Ooh, I got package.
Where is the collective energy at? And the subject of the reading. What is the subject of the reading? Subject of the reading is 3 of Swords. So this can be taken as pain and suffering, but more so on an emotional level.
This is a shadow work prompt.
Thoughts. Shadow work prompt, absolutely. Thoughts and actions. What is the collective's current understanding of their shadow work? While you're doing that, Ethereal Haven, if you have pressure on your third eye when you're doing your readings, like take some time to ground yourself before entering a reading and just like allow yourself to like clear your energy and just ground yourself in the moment of the reading, because you've been manifesting spiritual growth for some time and now you're getting that. Your third eye is opening and
you're experiencing that pain, but see that as a sign of a good thing. It's like it's waking up, like you're opening your little eye. So like just take a few breaths, put on some meditating music, some calm music while you're doing your reading, and just allow the messages to flow and just see what comes out. But don't put you're putting pressure on yourself in readings. It seems like you're putting a lot of pressure on the message. Allow the message just to come however it's going to come. Does that make sense?
Yeah, try not to overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. It's really hard to say. It's hard to say that when you're someone who suffers from anxiety, like everybody else in this fucking chat. Everybody in here has anxiety. I don't care who you are at this point. Everyone here is an empath. Everyone here picks up on other people's bullshit energy all the time. So don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh my God, Very Venus is back. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you really that lonely? Jesus Christ. Okay, so present understanding of the collective's shadow work. 8 of Cups comes in reversed. Okay, so the eight of Cups reversed talks about coming back to familiar, coming back to what is known. But when it comes to shadow work, we have to tap into what we don't know, and that begins with testing boundaries. So as far as the collective goes, what can they do to better their understanding of shadow work? Everything fell out. Page of Swords.
Everybody go watch Frozen 2 and watch it until the message hits home.
Yeah. Okay. So literally, as Ashley was saying, anxiety, this is the big thing that they're talking about. Anxiety, 9 of Swords. Where does your anxiety stem from? So the concept of anxiety is questioning self-doubt, questioning other people. It's because we don't trust ourselves in the first place. So then we start questioning within and without. As above, so below. As within, so without. So here, the Page of Swords and the Queen of Swords comes in again in reverse as thoughts and actions due to thoughts. Okay, so when we have a lot of energy moving forward, the thinking stages of a lot of things that we want to do, we have to start taking actual action, but out of stability and grounding first and foremost. So the 6 of Pentacles here comes in reversed as showing that you're putting energy in areas that you're not getting it back. So that's an equal exchange of energy. With my 6 of Cups here is talking about inner child work. Why are you such a people pleaser?
Like I said, just go watch Frozen 2 and let the message of Frozen 2 sink in. Listen to everything that Olaf says and make it make sense. Meditate on what honestly, go watch Frozen 2 and just listen to Olaf the entire fucking time. And then meditate on everything he says, and the secrets of life will come to you.
The secrets of life. I like
you
that.
think I'm fucking lying?
Olaf
in that fucking movie.
No, I know. Oh, I know.
And I love it because before I started doing all this shit like hardcore, I was already a Frozen 2 fan. Like I literally have an Elsa keychain on my key fob or whatever. And then, but all my family's like, Ashley, you are Olaf. Especially in the fucking, when they're traveling and he's like being annoying and like talking about random trivia, they were like, Ashley, this is fucking you. This is you.
Oh, yeah.
You just annoy people with your random trivial information. But yeah, go listen to Olaf.
What's going on?
Everything. Someday, this will make sense when I am older.
Breaks out into song. Mm-hmm. Swords reverse, 4 of Swords reverse, Ace of Cups. Wow.
Someone just sent me a whipped coffee. Oh, Samantha? Yeah, let's see.
Let it go.
Someone saying, watch Frozen 2, listen to Olaf, make it make sense. Someone said, what the fuck? Someone said, Jen Robb said something. I have personally been called out by this collective reading. She's like cracking up. I love this energy. I love everyone. I have to get off here. I have a reading I have to do, but I just want to let everyone in this chat know that I love and support all of you, and all of you matter. All of you matter, and your voice is important, and your perspective is important, and your voice, if it's different from mine, doesn't make either of us wrong. It just makes it different, and that's what we're talking about here at the end of the day. It's like everyone has their own path to their own truth. And everybody's truth is true for them. And that's okay. For them. What we need to do here is just remember that we're all here together in this moment to learn something. So don't let your insecurities, your whatever, get in the way of learning whatever the message is. Because I'm just here to love you and support you and help you, and so is Brittany. So if you guys are interested in joining us in any kind of like weird phone call where we talk about random shit, email me ashleysummer0@gmail.com. We will set something up where we will have a random ass conversation and we'll have like open time, because honestly me and her talk about this shit all the time, and you might as well come in and we'd love to hear what you have to say too. So ashleysummer0@gmail. I don't know when we're gonna do this. This is something I just came up with right now. So like, just email me and I'll send you the invite so you can sign up for it and we can schedule something. And it's absolutely free. It's absolutely free. That's what we're supposed to do. I gotta go. Love you guys.
Bye.
Awesome. Bye.